Welcome back. So in our last episode we talked about Normandy cooking broadly, the 5 key ingredients and what you can do with them. And now I want to focus a little bit more on the coastline, the seafood there is in Normandy. There's plenty of seafood in Normandy. They got some of the finest. And just to tell you that the apple, cider, calvados, creams and butter can be used also for fish, not only for meat and dessert. And I've got a recipe right here, which is how to cook a fish fillet or any fish fillet Normandy style that is absolutely easy and again, absolutely delicious. So we're going to use the same principle, some of these key ingredients, a very simple process, and we're going to have a beautiful dish on our hand, an absolute must try if you like fish. Let's go. Right, so as you've seen on the picture, I can show you again here, Normandy's got plenty of seafood, of shells, of crabs, of prawns, of oysters, and all kinds of fish, but I'm conscious that when you're not living in France, it's going to be hard to get all those things. So what I've decided to do here is to use a recipe that uses simple fish fillet. And as you can see, even my local fishmonger, I've got some beautiful salmon fillet. And this is the blue-eyed trevally. It is a firm white fish fillet that you can use. It is really up to you. And we can use either one of those, but I think I'm going to go with the salmon because salmon is something that a lot of people are quite comfortable with and that's going to work perfectly well. So as I said, you can use any of fish fillet. You need something a bit firm that's going to be holding while cooking. For the ingredients, as part of the key Normandy ingredients, we're just going to be using this time a real cider from Normandy. Last time was more of a local one, so that's the real stuff. Some beautiful cream, some shallot, and perhaps a bit of lemon and parsley, salt and pepper, and you are done. It is that simple. And the process is easy. Let's have a look. Let's get started. So for the mise en place, that means all the things that you need to prepare before you cook. Starting with the cookware, we're going to be using a baking dish, something that can go in the oven, so oven proof and not too large. A small saucepan, I'm going to be using to make the sauce. And then the rest of the ingredients, so the cider, we don't need the whole bottle, but it's easy, just to open it and we're going to use it as is. The shallot, about 2 or 3 tablespoons, thinly diced. Okay, a little bit of butter, that's salted butter by the way, we're going to be using this to butter the dish. And the salmon or the other fish fillet, it can be a white fish if you want. Now you don't want to use the salmon with the skin, so we're going to get rid of the skin here. Now if you buy fish fillet and they have skin on, you can buy them skin off, but I kind of having them with the skin on because it's somehow fresher. I think they just cut from the whole fish. You're going to need to use a knife, like a filleting knife. So this is the kind of knife, like it's very long and thin, and it's flexible. Can you see the blade? All right, and I've washed my hands, and typically you do this on a special board. And some people, they turn the fish around and think it's easier when you get the skin up, but actually when you fillet or you just remove the skin like this, it's easier to lay down the fish with the skin under. And all what I'm doing, I'm doing an incision here. I'm trying to plant my knife and go under, and you press down and you just slide along the skin on here, and then you remove the skin, and that's it. And then you got a fillet. I'm going to put this on the side. I've got my fillet that is prepped. You see, it's nice and clean. So up, we're going to do this the same for the other fillet. Now once your fish fillet and the other ingredients are ready, we can start to prepare the dish. Before you do anything, you're going to have to preheat your oven at 200 degrees Celsius. I put the equivalent Fahrenheit on the screen, fan forced on. I'm going to use a baking dish. So I've lightly buttered the dish. It is with salted butter, by the way, this time. And now we can begin. So it is the easiest way of preparing fish. So anyone out there that never managed to cook fish, you will be able to do that beautiful recipe without any problem. Step number 1, the butter. Step number 2, you take some of the shallots. We'll put some of them at the bottom of the dish, like this. I told you, Normandy style, there's no fuss. Then you put your salmon. So it could be a white fish. I'm putting only 2 in here. The ingredients I'm giving you, you can have 2, 3, even maybe 4 fillets on here. So a better view on here. Once you've got your fillet, you got the shallot at the bottom. I'm going to add the rest of the shallots on top. Plenty of shallots on here, because there's not many ingredients in that dish. I'm going to add some salt. Okay, over. A bit of pepper. So just the seasoning. And now we're going to add the cider. So I'm going to open the bottle on the side. And like we've seen before, the cider, in the other recipe, we only need like about 250 ml. So that replaces the wine. So typically we use wine in a lot of dishes. For even these types of dishes, but you always have that white wine kind of taste. So here we use cider instead. This is a typical Normandy style. And basically that's about it. We're just going to cover this and that's going to go into the oven. So as you can see, it is very, very straightforward. Now it doesn't look like much like here because we're not finished. Here it is the process of cooking the fish. We're poaching the fish in the cider. So it is not fully submerged into liquid. It's almost like a braising. But we want to make sure we've got the liquid at least 3/4 of the way up. So it's going to steam, it's going to boil, and it's going to cook the salmon. So all what we need to do is to cover this, put it in the oven until the fish is just about cooked. You don't want to overcook it, because after that we're going to have to leave it to rest once we're going to be making the sauce. I'm taking a small piece of parchment paper and I'm just going to make sure it's kind of tight like this, almost like a papier. There's a little hole here for some steam to escape, and I'm going to put this in my oven until the salmon is cooked. So I'm going to try first like 15 minutes or something like this, but if your fish is thicker, you may need more time. So there's nothing really definite for the time. I'll just tell you how long it took me. So I'm putting this into the oven and I'll show you the results when it's done. It's been barely 15 minutes and I'm so surprised how fast this went. Look at my salmon. Is really cooked already on the top right here. So once you're here, your fish is ready. You're going to immediately taking out of there, and I'm going to put it on the tray like this on the side with some of the juices. So I've got my salmon pieces on here, and on the side, what you can see here, I can't fit everything on the camera. I'm taking a little bit of the juices, not much, just to put that in there, keep it moist. And I'm going to cover this and keep it warm in the oven, so 50, 60 degrees Celsius, nothing more than that. If you use your oven that you just use, open the door and put the fish in the oven with the door open. Okay, so like this is not going to be too hot. And immediately we're going to be taking care of the sauce. Perfect, so our fish is cooked, is resting in the oven, and I've got here all I need for the sauce. So you need to have all of the cooking juices. So this is the taste from the fish with the cider, the shallots, salt and pepper. It's on here. I've got the cream, about 200 ml or 150 ml if you want. A little bit of chopped parsley and a hint of lemon. You can have some extra salt and pepper if you want for the cookware. Favor a pan like this, you know, kind of a saute pan like this that's kind of quite wide, so it can reduce faster, so we don't waste too much time. Okay, so now let's go on the stove. So as you can see, cooking Normandy style is very easy. I'm using the pan here, medium to high heat. I'm taking all of the juices. I'm bringing this to a light boil, and then we're going to add the cream and reduce, and that's about it. Good, so I've got a good boil, and what we have here in effect is like a fish fumet or some kind of an instant fish stock. So I like to reduce first the liquid in here, because when you add the cream, if there's too much liquid, this is the cider, it could tend to curdle. So I prefer like this. I'm reducing a maximum to concentrate the flavor, and I think that's enough just for just a few minutes. And now from here, basically all what I'm doing, making a cream sauce, putting that in. We're gonna mix the whole lot, reduce, and that's it. Correct the seasoning, bit of lemon, bit of parsley, and we're done. We've got a beautiful sauce. It's boiling away, so this is in 5 minutes maximum. You use a really high heat. You see we've got a spoon coating consistency on here already, as we always have. It's getting there. I'm gonna try it. Have a little taste, and now when it's reducing, I can see the taste of the fish. It's very subtle. It's pretty much a cream sauce with a slight intonation of apple in the background, and then you can add a little bit of acidity. So I've got my I've got a lemon here, but from the garden, I don't even know there's a few drops of lemon. Okay, a hint of parsley in there for the color, and if you want, a bit of pepper, and that is gonna be it. Take my little ladle on here, and our sauce basically is ready. So this is what you're getting. Okay, a beautiful, simple Normandy style sauce. Very quick to make, very simple, but it works. So now let's assemble this with the fish. Now before I forget, when you take your fish out of the oven, put all of the juices that are in there. You mix well, and if need be, a little boil, and you're good to go. Right. But I've put this into a serving dish, and I've got all my sauce, and the trick here, that it's a very simple rudimentary sauce, and you're just going to be pouring your sauce over the salmon. So generous portion, as always, and a bit of parsley, and we're done. Okay, so the parsley is always the final touch. It's very simple. You can put a piece of lemon if you want on the side. And this is really for a weekday meal, something ultra simple. We've poached the salmon very quickly. We've got a cream sauce, a bit of apple flavor into it, a bit of acidity, some salt and pepper, a bit of shallot, and that's all you need. You can serve this with a rice, with potato. It's absolutely beautiful. Perfect. So now that we've served, we'll have a quick try. Okay, so very simple. I've got the salmon on here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little piece of the salmon on here. And of course, some of that sauce. Very important. The sauce is always super important. Okay, so of course, typically you have potatoes or rice with it. But just that combination, it's almost like a beurre blanc, as you imagine on here. And in my view, you know the shallots and everything like this. Add with some beautiful texture. Now, if you want a real restaurant quality style, you can filter the sauce and get rid of all the shallots because some people think, oh, they're not going to be cooked properly or anything like that. But if you want it rustic like that, you do exactly like me, and it goes perfectly well. You know, cream sauce never fails. And as a bonus, if you have some leftover cider, have a cheers. That's typical Norman. So there we have it, another example of the power of these key ingredients here using fish. We haven't used them all, but we've used just some cider, some cream and some butter. And there again, it is a very straightforward way to cook an ingredient. Here it is fish, and it is very versatile. So you can use here salmon, you can use a white fish, you can even use mackerel. The original recipe was using mackerel fillets, just to tell you can use absolutely everything. So this is really, in Normandy, by far one of the simplest ways to prepare fish. There's other methods, but that will be perhaps for another video. So if you've never tried that, again, if you've got friends coming over just for a weekday dinner, something quick, try that, because I'm telling you, it is absolutely good and it works. And make sure, by the way, to join me next time, because for the finale of that little series, I managed to dig out an interesting apple tart that is not your standard apple tart, Normandy style, that also includes a flambé with calvados in it. So there's gonna be some flaming around in the studio. So make sure to come back to the channel when I post the video. Until then, take care all. Let me know in the comment section what did you think of that recipe. And as for me, I will see you next time on the next video. Take care all. Bye bye.